Hey everyone, it's Megan. For this Top 5 and 10 Wednesday, I will be counting down my top 5 favorite movies about food. Before we begin, I have a honorable mention here, and it is Eat, Pray, Love, starring Julia Roberts, because those scenes in Italy with the food, hello. Coming in at number 5, we have a movie which came out in 2006. It is Last Holiday, starring Queen Latifah. This movie is about a lady from the South who finds out that she only has 3 weeks to live. Throughout the whole thing, she is kind of like a foodie. She's a cook. She just makes these amazing dishes. And it starts right from the beginning with this amazing chicken dish to the very end. I just love the food in this movie. It gets you excited about cooking and about life and just food. Coming in at number 4, I have a film which I have not unfortunately been able to get my hands on yet, and it is Babettes Feast, which came out in 1987. It is a Danish film, and the plot is a little difficult to explain, but suffice it to say there are these old spinster sisters, and this woman that they have working for them, she makes them a feast. She was a former cook in Paris, and she just makes for them and their guests this array of French food that is it's just absolutely incredible. You watch everything, how it's made, like how it's like arrived in like its live form, but most importantly you get to see the guests' reactions to it. They're kind of upright, stiff town. Very religious, very like anti-pleasure in terms of like earthly things. So to see what this one woman does to them with one meal is pretty friggin' impressive. Coming in at number 3, we have this biopic, and it is Julie and Julia, starring Meryl Streep and Amy Adams. This came out in 2009 and was directed by one of my favorite women directors of all time, Nora Ephron. And it is telling the story of Julia Child from the time that she moved to France just after the Second World War, and this other character, Julie, who works at an insurance company, and it's post 9/11, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Anyway, she decides that she wants to have a goal and a blog, and so decides to cook her way through Julia Child's Mastering the Art of French Cooking. This is a movie about food, like seriously, and it's just fascinating to see the comparing of their lives, like, about roughly 50 years apart. It's just food 100% of the way. If you haven't seen this movie and you love France or like French food, I don't know how you haven't seen this yet if you haven't. Coming in at number 2, we have a movie which came out in 2000, and it is Shkola, starring Johnny Depp and Juliette Binoche. The movie is set in 1958 in this French village, and Juliette's character, Vienne, comes and opens up a chocolaterie in the village just as Lent is setting in. So yeah, this, like Babette's Feast, it is rather a sort of stiff, very religious, very conservative town, and her coming in with all of this stuff and all this culture and decadence in this chocolate that she makes really just turns it upside down. Everything changes when she arrives. And the food. It's not even just the chocolate. There's this scene with bread and jam and butter, and it's just like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. But the chocolate is the primary component in this, and the sort of montage scenes that they've got going on with it is just, This has become like a staple Easter movie that we watch with just like plates of different kinds of chocolate. And coming in at number 1, it's probably no big surprise, but it is the incomparable 2007 Pixar film, Ratatouille. If you haven't seen this absolutely delightful film, I don't know what you're doing, because this little guy, Remy, is just, not only is he adorable, but he is incredibly talented. It was an original story written by Brad Bird about this rat who wants to cook. He finds himself in this rather famous French restaurant in Paris called Gusteau's, and its chef, Gusteau, has recently passed on, and so the restaurant's in a bit of a, flat zone. And so Remy arrives, and through this guy, Linguini, is able to cook, and he does it rather successfully. It's just great. It's such a good movie. I remember I went to see it back when it was released in theaters 3 times because I loved it so much. It really affected me and the way I thought about both movies and food. About the food itself, I can't even. Like with Julie and Julia, it is French food throughout, and it is just so beautiful. The animation in this film is absolutely stunning, like the picture that it paints of Paris. And there's the dialogue about food itself, about it nourishing us, and like the idea of experimenting and that excitement that comes with it is just I've never seen it examined in any other film before. which is why it takes the #1 spot. Alright guys, that is it for my top 5. Let me know in the comments what your favorite movies about food are. I would love to discuss. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I shall see you soon with a new video. I think it's going to be a book haul. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and I shall see you then. Bye everyone!